Recording.
Wow. Here we go. Here we are. Once
Hello
again.
there.
I forget what episode number this is. I think it's 11?
11.
Lucky number 11. Actually, I don't know if that's a lucky number or not. But,
Onze. Numéro 11. There's my French.
Because people like 11, you know.
Also 11 Stranger Things. I don't watch it.
I haven't even watched that. I haven't even watched that yet.
We might be the only two people in the world who has not seen it.
That's true. I mean, we have all this time. We might as well watch it, but...
You're right. But, we have the Jordan documentary to watch.
That's true. That's the thing with the quarantine. It's like... There's so much stuff to watch, but it feels like there's still not enough time for all of it.
I know.
Which is kind of weird, but... We are going to watch some more stuff today.
Watch some amazing things today.
Yeah, because, well, anyway, before we get into the topic, welcome to the Half Full podcast.
Right, we are on a podcast.
Yeah.
Right.
So just make sure you're listening to the right one. Yeah.
This is the Half Full podcast.
So if you missed it, then if this is not the one you're finding, then we'll see you later. Or stick around. And
yeah.
Maybe you'll have a good time.
You'll learn about some Asian things today.
Yeah.
Is that racist?
I don't know. It has to do with like Asian culture, I guess, and stuff like that. So like for those who are like frequent listeners of this podcast, or if you just know us personally, like Eunice and I, we would say we're pretty big fans of K-pop. Let's say that.
Big fans, closeted, some might say.
Yeah, I mean we're not to the point where we're barking on Twitter at like people who criticize and
well, some of us aren't.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're not like the craziest thing. We're just like, we enjoy the music, we enjoy following certain artists, and the culture surrounding it somewhat fascinates us.
Uh-huh.
Because I mean, it is so much different than like Western styles of popular media.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it comes to music,
mm-hmm.
right? So, and even if even if you don't listen to it, right? Everyone kind of knows about it.
Everyone
thing, right?
Definitely knows about it at this point,
Mm-hmm.
especially since the whole surge of BTS coming up as
right,
probably the biggest act right now.
Right. Because even when I think about like how I was introduced to it, first thing was like my friend told me about like Taeyang or Wonder Girls or something. Like Wonder Girls nobody like blew up, and that was like my first like introduction to like what K-pop was.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, I never really like really followed it.
So Wedding Dress was your first song?
Pretty much, I would say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a lot of people's first song to K-pop.
But then if you go even further, and then Psy, Gangnam Style came out.
That blew up.
That's
right.
That was a huge phenomenon. Obviously, it's more of like a comedic song and stuff like that, but it's still kind of like put up the forefront of like, like Korean music is like huge, right? And it's like kind of branching outside of like a small select few people who listen to it.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's when it all really blew up. Because I feel like a couple of years after, that's when people started noticing BTS, and they were like, okay, now they're on the Billboard Music Awards.
Right.
Oh, they beat Justin Bieber for the social media star, whatever it was. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah.
That's the thing, right?
Crazy how far they've come.
It's crazy how much like the fans play an influence on.
Oh my gosh.
Success,
we can talk about fandoms today because we're probably going to get into it.
Yeah. But I mean, like, we do listen to it pretty frequently and follow a lot of like content of groups outside of just music, right? Because they do like variety shows, they do their own content like within their own YouTube channels and stuff like that. Like, that's definitely a thing. And because of its rise in popularity, especially nowadays, right? Because of how huge it is.
I just realized we were talking about it. Hello to my collection of K-pop.
Oh yeah, you just see that. I see.
Let's just cover that.
Album there.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
No, there's nothing there. For the audio listeners, Eunice's brain has some albums in the background.
I'm now covering it with my body, so
Okay.
It's too late.
It's too late, but people already know.
Yeah.
But because it's something we frequently listen to, we thought and because it's gaining so much popularity, we thought about there's different groups that have um, where am I trying to go with this? Like foreign members,
Oh yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So
For example,
yeah, go ahead.
Twice has Chewie and the 3 Japanese members, Momo,
Yep.
Sana, Mina.
Right.
Why did I say it like
So maybe yeah, I mean maybe people who don't follow K-pop closely, there are members of K-pop groups and idols in Korean culture who aren't from Korea. They're not native Koreans, right? But usually what happens is they get recruited, they go to Korea, become a trainee, right? Learn the language, pretty much
be
raised
immersed in
Korea.
the culture, yeah.
Like this is around like maybe preteens into like later teenage years.
That's crazy.
In hopes to get a debut, right? So usually that's how it works. But it's surprising to see like a lot of the major, there are members who aren't from Korea, right? But most of the time, they're of like another Asian.
Yeah, they just look.
Ethnicity.
They might look Asian enough to pass as Korean.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you got members. You got people from China, Japan. Thailand with Lisa from Blackpink. And you even have like some
Ten and Nikun. Right. Sorry, just shout it out. Oh, Bam Bam also. Sorry.
Right, and you even have some people from North America. There are actually
a lot of Canadians.
People from from Canada. You have a lot of Toronto people too. You got Leah
Toronto mans
from ITZY. ITZY. You got Wendy, Red Velvet. That's a huge one.
Huge one, yeah.
Right. But even
Henry and Mark from NCT. Sorry.
And the guy from GOT7.
Not someone GOT7. From GOT7?
Why am I saying GOT7? I mean
Mark is from the US. Yeah.
Day 6 is what I meant. I was thinking JYP
Brian.
in my head. I got mixed up.
Yeah. Same company.
Yeah, and then you even have Vernon and Joshua, right?
Hey.
Native Americans. I don't mean like indigenous people. I mean like they're native born in the States.
Yes.
And then but are part Korean or full Korean. And they went over as well.
I feel like Vernon is the only mixed person I've seen in a major K-pop group.
That's interesting. Wow.
Yeah. Unless
that's definitely a big one.
I don't know anyone else's story, but yeah.
Maybe there is, but that's probably the only one I know.
Yeah.
For sure. But like the point being is like we listed a bunch of people, but the point being is that
it's embarrassing.
There are foreign members in Korean groups. Because it was interesting because we were talking about. We were reacting to a video that we saw. I forgot the name of the channel, but they were interviewing people about just K-pop in general.
Oh, yeah, I'll link them down below. I don't remember their names, but yeah.
And then it was interesting because one of the questions was about how the idea of like foreign members in groups, like can a certain group.
Go ahead.
Sorry, so can a certain group be labeled as like the nation's group,
girl group or boy group?
Right, if there are
Korean members. Yeah. And I think some of them were like, no, because they're not all Koreans.
Right. And
some of them were like, yeah. I mean, they've embraced the culture. They've embraced Korea as their home. Why not?
Right.
Yeah.
Because relating this to like a bigger topic about cultural appropriation, stuff like that, it's like the way you would want to define it is up to you. But for me, I could see how people could kind of spin this idea about how a non-Korean doing K-pop, right, singing in Korean, all this stuff, could be a form of it. But the thing is with the major companies in Korea, like you have to move to Korea, you have to learn the language, you have to immerse yourself into the culture, right? So with that, it's like you essentially kind of become part Korean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You become a native to the country, not a native to the country, but you become like a resident of the country.
Pretty
because you
much.
stayed there for so long,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I wonder
So
if
for-
these people all become Korean citizens. I don't know how the process works there, but
That's
I feel like
definitely
they've been
interesting.
they've been there long enough to be considered a citizen.
Mhm.
I don't know.
I actually haven't even thought about that.
Yeah, I just thought of it.
That's an interesting point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's definitely something to look into. But I think the reason why we're getting into this is because we're going to be talking about groups who are K-pop groups,
But they are
right?
not Korean.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are any of the members in the first group we're talking about Korean?
Oh, I forgot to check that.
Okay, we should check that. But either way, they're K-pop that they weren't like founded in Korea,
Yes.
right?
Hold on. Let me just check if she's
Yeah.
Korean.
And the reason why we think this is so interesting is that it's like, is it becoming so popular to the point where other countries and their production companies want to try to emulate what Korea has done with their music?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Okay, she is Korean.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the members is Korean in that group?
Yes.
I see.
She
Okay.
moved to said place, we'll say that later, in 2016. So that's
Right.
why they formed this group. And we'll talk about where they're from after we check out this video.
Right. Yeah. So the first group we're going to talk about is a group named Kaachi.
Kaachi. Yes,
And you
it's
said
called Your
this came out
Turn.
somewhat recently.
At the time that it's out, it was released 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so extremely recent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So should we talk about it while we watch it?
I mean, if you have a comment, just say it out.
Okay.
It's not like you gotta listen to it intently.
Okay.
All right. We also have watched this video once before, just to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of inspired the whole topic for the podcast, anyway. So.
It did.
Yeah.
All right, you ready? Let's watch Kaachi.
Yeah.
Your Turn. Is it playing?
This intro is also very like DIY YouTuber vibe.
That's exactly what I'm feeling. It's like if Jake Paul tried to release a music video.
Why do I feel like not to downplay it or whatever, but it's like the aesthetic almost looked like a low budget Itchy, you know? I don't know, dude.
Oh my god. But I see what you're saying. Like they were trying to go for that Dala Dala aesthetic.
I was thinking Icy.
Yeah, Icy. Like on the streets of New York.
Yeah. Right. So if you haven't noticed yet, there are white members who are singing in Korean.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, the even with like the text, you see how the text is like all the drawn on text. That's kind of like Icy. You know
yeah, a lot of people were saying that TXT started it.
Yes, with Crown. Yeah, it has that vibe to it. What made TXT's
don't think
better,
they started it though. Sorry,
what made TXT's better was that like it was coming off of the widescreen, so it looked like it was really popping out.
Okay.
That's what was cool about that.
Mm-hmm. I'm not a huge fan of this chorus.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the worst song I've ever heard.
It's not the worst. I'm not a fan of the chorus. I like the pre-chorus though.
That's definitely better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about. Interesting.
It just felt like super weak to me. You know? I don't know.
What, the rap part?
Yeah.
No, I get it.
Okay, this is the second time I'm watching it. I swear the actual, I don't know what the other girl is, but like the Asian girl hasn't gotten any lines.
She got one line. I tried to look out for it and I saw her sing one time.
One line?
In the verse.
There's 4 members in your group. You couldn't do any better.
The girl with the blue hair gets the majority. That girl gets like all the lines.
I guess, but well, that was your turn.
All right.
Okay, there's a lot we can talk about.
Things to say.
It's not the worst song ever.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of people are going to be like, it's such a terrible song. It shouldn't even be K-pop. That's another argument, though.
That's another argument. That's true. I guess the first thing I'll say, just because it's a minor point, but that girl literally got no lines. She got one, but I mean, you have 4 members in your group. Come on, you can't split it up better than that. That's pretty sad, right? It's like
the producer probably favored that one girl.
I guess, but there are groups that have like 17 have 13 members. They seem to do a better
line
job. Line
distribution for them isn't too bad for most songs.
Yeah.
But then there's NCT. That's dear God.
Is that a different story? I don't follow NCT that hard.
Oh God, it's so bad. The line distribution isn't great.
So they definitely favor.
They favor 2 members. Don't want to, I don't want people to come at me, but
okay.
They already know. They already know.
If you know, you know.
You know, you know. Yeah.
The thing that threw me off about this video is that this is the thing. If you're gonna label yourself as a K-pop group, right, you're gonna be held to the same standards of other K-pop groups.
Yeah. So how are we defining K-pop then?
That's the thing. How is it defined?
Yeah.
Right? Is it only defined by the language you're speaking, or is it defined by the members? Right? Because if we look at it from a member standpoint, you look at major K-pop groups. They have 4 members. However, majority of the members are Korean.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
So it has to be it has to be sung in Korean at least to be considered K-pop, right? Because it's a different language. Yeah. Or else it would just be pop,
Right. The thing that's hard now is like, how do you even define pop music? Right? Do we define it as a stick thing, or do we define it as because it's popular, that becomes pop music? Right, so whatever the sound is doesn't really matter, but if it's in the forefront,
it's like how hip hop is pop now.
That's a huge debate too, right?
Yeah.
Because hip hop is like becoming, not because it's like hip hop's fault, but because the style of hip hop, right, has become part of the forefront, and it's part of like the top 40, as we say.
Yeah.
Right. Then do we define that as pop music as well?
It's a huge debate now.
But I think stylistically it's really hard to define K-pop, because you have like K-rock groups.
True.
You have, like K-rap and stuff like that, I guess.
K-hip-hop, K-indie, K-R&B. Listen to all of those.
But I'd say like we'll just put it under a huge umbrella term.
Okay.
Okay, so first thing, it has to be sung in Korean, obviously.
Yeah.
So technically this checks the list.
Yeah. But I feel like there are other things that fall under K-pop. So some people would say that, they have to had trained under a company as a trainee. So, yeah. What else? Their dancing has to be on point, because a lot of K-pop groups have dance training at this point when they debut. Right. And their dances are super hard to execute. The choreography is insane. And also the music video has to be crazy.
Right. The production value on K-pop music videos is unlike anything I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Right.
So those are what some people, those are their criteria for K-pop.
So why don't we go to that that first category then? We'll break it down. So the first one, you said they had to be trained under a company, right? Who is Front Row? Is that the name of the company?
Front Row, yeah.
For this group?
Yes.
Did you know anything about their company and stuff like that?
They are based in London.
See, that's a huge
It
point,
is a huge point.
right? That's a huge point. It's
They
not
are
based
not
in
in
Korea.
Korea. They're not associated with Korea at all.
Mm-hmm.
At least I didn't research, but I don't think they are. I feel like they have people who are Korean that work there, but
But like the top
it's
people, you think like
I don't know.
like the
I
top
don't.
producers and stuff like that.
I feel like
Because
I should
if
look
that's
that
the
up.
thing, right? If it's like if it's a situation where that company is run by non-Korean people,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then are they just banking on the fact Korean music sells, right? So
Yeah,
we're gonna make a group that sings in Korean,
that's exactly what's happening.
right? And to me, if that's the case, then it
Mm.
could be filed as a little bit of cultural appropriation, right?
Sure.
Because it's language is a huge part of culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's taking and well, popular culture aside, but let's just say just the language, right? By singing in Korean, right, and calling your music K-pop,
Right.
right, you're kind of taking advantage of the fact that you know that this stuff sells, and you're trying to profit off of it as well.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily your culture. I understand
Right.
that like there's a member in the group who's Korean,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's still like drawing the line, or like it's kind of like wavering on that line, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you know? Okay, I know two of them are white for sure,
Right.
right? I don't know where they're from or whatever, but we know that.
Let's get
One of them,
into it.
yeah.
So the girl with the
So we're gonna
blue
break down the
hair.
members.
Girl with the blue hair.
Seems like she's like the main girl. It
Yeah,
seems like.
she's the leader.
Leader. Okay. Is she the oldest?
She's the
Really?
oldest. Oh no, she's not.
That doesn't.
She's
She's not. Okay. I mean, it doesn't have to be the oldest,
she's
but
21.
usually that's
Yeah.
how it plays out. Yeah. I thought she was younger than that, to be honest.
Right? Me too. Oh, she was in a dance company. I mean, I guess it shows.
Mm-hmm.
The
I didn't feel
Korean girl. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, talk about her first. It's okay.
Korean girl. She is my age.
But what about the blue hair chick? Do you know where she's from?
Oh, sorry. She was born in Venezuela.
Really?
Raised in Canary Islands in Spain. Guess she went to London.
So she's Spanish?
Yeah.
Huh. Really?
Interesting. So what
That's
I'm
really
seeing
interesting.
is that she lived in South Korea for 3 months
Oh, okay.
with 2 other members. Okay.
I was asking if she doesn't have any Korean in her at all.
No Korean
Yeah,
in
okay,
her.
interesting.
Not mixed.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say I felt like she, at least in comparison, she was like the strongest member, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
She had
That's probably why
she
she
had the most
was.
presence about her.
Yeah.
More confidence,
Mhm.
So.
Okay, so the Korean girl.
Mhm.
She trained in Korea, traditional dance, contemporary, and ballet. Wow, ballet.
Wow.
She teaches K-pop workshops in London.
Huh.
Yeah, interesting.
Okay.
Okay, so the next girl, Danny,
Mhm.
born in 98. She's
Okay.
mixed. She's mixed.
Really? Okay.
What's her mix? It doesn't say. Irish father, mixed race mother, so she has more than one or 2.
It's not like, specific enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She speaks the most Korean after the Korean girl. Very interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Last girl is Chunso.
Mhm.
Her real name is Ruth. Oh, she's
Okay,
half Filipino.
I got mixed up with who you were talking about. So now you're talking about the. Okay, when you said blue-haired chick, I thought you were talking about the girl in the checkered dress.
Okay, I don't know who that is. Like,
Okay, wait.
okay, there's a
In the
girl that
thumbnail.
has all blue, and there's a girl that has blue and purple. Which one
Is
are
it
you
the one
talking?
that's not tied up, or is it the one that's like down here? She's the one that's in the beginning of the song.
All right, guess we're gonna have to look at this again.
Like right in this, her.
Oh, okay. This is the mixed girl.
That's the mixed girl.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I was getting lost. Okay, I thought she was the strongest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
I
don't
thought the
know.
other girl was the
In
strongest.
my opinion, I thought she was the strongest.
Okay, well, this
I don't
makes
know.
sense. She's half Filipino, just
This
like
girl?
someone I know. Yeah,
Hey,
half
shout out.
Filipino, born in Spain.
Huh? Okay.
Her real name is Ruth.
Hmm.
Doo doo.
So what
Yeah,
did you say her stage name was?
Chunso.
So that's like a Korean name though, right?
Yeah, they gave her a Korean stage name.
That's weird.
I feel like
Don't you think that's weird? I don't know.
so they decided not to use her real name
Okay.
because it's hard to pronounce in Korean. So I guess
Okay.
Chunso was her original stage name, and
Uh-huh.
because Ruth in English is easier to pronounce, it's just harder to pronounce in Korean.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
Don't know.
I guess so.
Don't know.
But I mean, like you could have just used a different name. I don't know. It had to be a Korean name, especially if it's not Korean. But
You're
this
right.
see, this plays into me like I'm being super skeptical about this. I'm not trying. This is not a personal attack on the girls, by the way. This is more about like what the company is trying to do. Like I
Yeah.
have like this is not a personal attack.
Mm-hmm.
Just to get that right, you know? But it just seems kind of like devious to kind of do that because like they understand they're trying to market towards like the same people who like traditional K-pop that comes from Korea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just feels a little like, you know, like they're trying to be slick or whatever. I don't know.
You're right.
Yeah. I mean, so we defined that. We talked about so does that technically count as training under a company? I mean,
No.
not right,
Because
not in the
they
same
didn't
way.
train under Front Row Records. Like they didn't
Right.
learn how to dance. They didn't learn how to sing
Mhm.
under this company. So
Right.
no.
It's not like you get recruited by YG and you train
Yeah.
under them
Yeah.
or any other top group or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think YG is a bad example, but as of right now.
Like I don't know if their company provided like some sort of training,
Mhm.
because it seems like from what I've read that they just came into it with dance knowledge, and I guess they learned how to sing or they were singing already.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I guess they probably had
definitely
an
different.
audition process, and they're like, okay, here you go. You guys are going to be a group.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not the exact same process as like a traditional K-pop group.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we'll give an X on that. Maybe that it doesn't fit that criteria.
Yeah.
Okay. So second one that you mentioned was about dance. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Out of both of us, I don't dance. You dance. Eunice is a dancer. Maybe not professional, but she has done it a lot and
Sure.
has performed a decent amount, I would say.
Sure.
So I would say you have a lot more input on this part. As someone, oh sorry, just
Go ahead.
because you have a more of an expert opinion, I would just say as a non-dancer.
Yeah, what did it look like to you?
Right, as a non-dancer, comparing it to other K-pop groups.
Because you're just here for like entertainment purposes, right?
Yeah. So when I see it, it falls a little bit flat in comparison to the kind of choreo you see with K-pop groups. So it didn't like really excite me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because if you look at a group like, because of the aesthetic, like I was comparing it to ITZY. When I see ITZY's choreo, it's very exciting. They're super, I can't really describe it like properly, but they're super like on point together.
Yeah, precise,
right?
synchronized.
Everything seems very fluid. Yeah. And it just the choreography is more impactful, like with the music. I would say.
I guess
I didn't really feel the choreo like had an impact on the song.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that says something about the choreographer for this piece. I'm gonna say piece. I don't know why.
Okay.
But I remember I told you that they had a hand in choreographing this song, like the
Interesting.
members.
Okay. Right.
Aside from an actual choreographer, but I guess that makes sense. The choreography just kind of fell flat. I feel like it wasn't powerful enough. Like even with the execution, like their movements weren't as big as I wanted it to be, or like as strong as they could have been. I mean, if they had more training, if they had more experience, then then they can get to that level.
Right.
I don't know.
Maybe they just didn't have all the time that usually like the K-pop idols nowadays have.
Yeah.
Since they were like forever, you know.
So then, if we go back to SB19, since they were trainees, they trained in dance and with vocals. Would we? No, we can't consider them K-pop because that's.
I mean, they are singing in Filipino.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess they're just like pop.
Yeah. I mean, you could just call it Filipino pop.
Yeah.
Right. The thing is that with SB19 is that they're definitely trying to. I don't want to say mimic because that sounds kind of harsh. They're trying to use like inspiration from like K-pop style and aesthetic, right? In terms of musicality and choreography to try to implement it into like Filipino pop music. But the reason why I'm not really harsh on them is that it seems like their production somehow it even seems higher than this.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, look up the music video for Go Up? We Go Up?
Or Go Up. One of those.
Yeah. It's something like that. We Go Up by SB19, right?
Yeah.
So it's a Filipino pop group, and I think it's how many? Is 5, 6 guys?
5.
Right?
I hope that's right. No, it's 5.
I can't even remember.
It's 5. It's 5. It's 5.
But
it's 5.
It's 5. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and if you can tell by the how it's shot and like how everything kind of moves together, it gives a vibe of like a K-pop video, but it's in Filipino.
Pretty much, yeah.
And now that I think about that, trying to compare that to this, I would say the SB19 music video is a lot better.
Right? Yeah.
And it seems weird because, I mean, sorry, is there anything you wanted to say about the dance before I go into like production?
TGRL. What? TLD. Anyways.
TLDR.
TLDR could have been better.
Could have been better. Okay,
on.
So it's not like.
It's not the worst.
High.
I mean, yeah, for Korean pop standards, it's just not there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now, like getting into the production side of it, like, I mean, I don't know how much budget they had for this video, and I don't know how much budget SB19 had for their video. But even then, I feel like SB19 used simpler locations so that they could film like a decent video without having to try too hard. Right.
Okay.
I would still say their video still pales in comparison to like to the standard of like a Korean music video, right? But they don't have the same budget. It's hard.
For sure.
It's kind of tough to compare. You know what I mean? But I feel like even just filming, I didn't really feel like the Your Turn production had like a lasting impact on me, I would say.
It just felt very like high-end amateurish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad, but it did give up that vibe. Like high-end amateurish.
Might have been the way it was edited or
like
the
it could
way
be
it was shot.
Really good.
I don't know.
It could be a really good like fan video. Like if that was just like a fan cover of like a K-pop song, I'd be like, yeah, it's pretty decent.
Oh my god.
But if you're gonna come out and try to compete, it's not enough. Yeah. Even then nowadays it's like I'm just trying to think about K-pop nowadays, and when you look at all the different sets they use and all the different outfits they use, there's like outfit changes like every 2 seconds. That's an exaggeration, of course, but it's like even something as simple as that, right?
Yeah.
That's something they didn't have in this video because they would go from set to set and they would be in the like same clothes. It's the same kind of concept, you know what I mean? Because that's like a huge thing in K-pop, concepts, right?
It's true. Concepts are very important. Yeah.
And then when a K-pop group comes out with a music video and they have all of these different outfits, those in itself could become different concepts.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They become clear and distinguishable, right? This one, like, it's almost like, what is the concept? Like, what are you trying to go for in
It's
this?
like
Like,
a
what's your style? I don't know.
edgy teenager. Is that
Is
offensive?
it? I
No.
guess. I don't
No.
know.
It's like a e-girl.
But then you also had the shots like here. I'll point it out in the 2.7. But you also had shots in um like this. Like, what's this supposed to be? Right?
And it's like playing on Feel Special.
Right? Like, you have this. You have like the graffiti walls. You know, the
Yeah.
outfits are pretty hard, I guess, right? And then you go into something like this.
Yeah. Kind of
So
more of a classier look.
yeah. Then again, we could look into the context of the lyrics. I haven't looked into that, so I don't exactly know what the song is about. This is more of just, I'm taking it from the perspective of someone who just came across this video.
Yeah.
And what would they think about it, kind of thing. I mean,
I was watching reaction videos to this, and a lot of people who were Korean said that they could not understand the Korean parts of the song. Well, at least it was hard to understand what it was, what the lyrics were.
That's very interesting.
It is. So that that just says that, like, clearly they don't really speak Korean. Their pronunciation isn't that great. I don't know.
See, that tells me too. It seems like they didn't even try to put enough effort into the production side of recording the vocals then.
That too, yeah.
Because you would think, okay, let's say, usually when someone's not an expert on something, let's say on like a movie or maybe a music video even, right? Usually you have like consultants or like experts on this particular subject. I don't know. Let's say you're making a movie about baseball. You know what I mean?
You would obviously need someone who knows a lot about baseball to come
or anything,
in and help you out.
any support or any game, whatever, right? Because if you're trying to make a thing based on that, if you're a director, right, you want to make, or a writer, you want to make sure you have a consultant with you to be like, yeah, that's a realistic situation, or like, yeah, that's something that could happen, or something like that, right? Let's say they're in the studio recording the vocal tracks for this song, right? That means maybe there wasn't a Korean person in the production side of it in terms of the vocals, because maybe if they're listening back to the track, it's like, let's play back your track. All right, they're listening to it. It's like, you know what? If there's a consultant there, maybe who's an expert in Korean linguistics or an actual Korean person,
right,
they could be like, you know what? It seems like it's a little bit hard. I can't really understand what you're saying.
Right.
So maybe let's fix your pronunciations on some things or whatever.
Exactly. I thought that's what they would have done.
All right, but if you're telling me that Koreans who have reacted to this can't understand it,
a lot of them were like,
problem.
A lot of them were like, oh, she's saying that, because like they couldn't understand it at first, but they're like, oh, so that has something to do with their pronunciation.
But it should be clear.
It should be clear.
Right. I don't think Koreans listen to K-pop and they're like, what did they say? You know?
It's like we could understand the English parts of the song, right? And so the Koreans who like they just couldn't understand the Korean parts.
See, that's interesting.
Oh.
What goes into
kind of froze there.
Oh, sorry.
Go back.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, it's like that. The idea that that's the thing about how they couldn't understand it just says to me like maybe they didn't put enough effort into recording the vocals then.
Yeah. Sigh.
Right. So then maybe that scratches off one of the things, like speaking Korean, right? It wasn't done well enough.
I mean, Korean is still in the song though.
It is.
Is it still Korean pop?
I mean, it seems like we're leaning on the side of no, right?
I mean, I want it to be, but because they tried.
This is when I see this, and this is not to be harsh, okay, but K-pop is one of those things, right? I think you could say the same for a lot of things in popular culture when it comes to actors, musicians, I don't know, famous people in general. Like, people want to be them.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
But sometimes with K-pop, it's like there's such a huge need for people to want to be like them that sometimes they go to measures like this group. Because to me, sometimes I get the vibe it's like maybe you guys are just really big K-pop fans and you just wanted to make something like this work.
I mean, they teach K-pop classes in London.
Yeah.
What
So
does that say?
and it's not like you don't have to be Korean to teach like a K-pop dance class or whatever. Like
No, you
it's okay
most
to be a
definitely
fan.
don't have to be. Yeah.
It's okay to be a fan. It's okay to participate in like the music of it,
Mhm.
right? But to me, this is just what it's giving me the vibe of.
Mhm.
It's like, oh my gosh, I wish I was Korean, or I wish I
Mhm.
was like a, so I could be like a K-pop star or whatever like that.
Mhm.
So that's what kind of this video kind of gives me the vibe of.
You know what this whole thing reminds me of? You know, at the showcase I was in, how there were a bunch of K-pop performances.
Sorry, what was the name of it?
The, you know how the showcase I was in, there were like a
Yes,
ton
yes.
of K-pop performances.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So it's kind of like that, because people will pay to dance to a Korean pop song,
yeah.
and they'll have a members part.
Hmm.
They just want to live their dream of being a K-pop
Right.
star for 3 minutes and perform the song.
Yeah, yeah. I totally
Yeah,
get that.
yeah.
And to be honest, I feel the same way. That's
I
the
mean,
thing,
I wanna be
right?
sulky, you know? Like, come
Yes,
on.
I'm saying all of this, right? Right? And bless their hearts, Kaachi, okay? This is not a personal attack on you. You're probably not even gonna listen to this anyway, because
No,
we're
they're not.
nobodies. However, okay, this is not a personal attack on you because I felt the exact same way, the way I talked about it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
would I want to be a member of 17? Of course.
100%.
If they offered
Yeah.
it to me, yes,
You
I
can
would
be
take it in a
Vernon's
heartbeat.
friend. You can be the other mixed person in 17.
Because that's the reason why we admire people, right? Usually we admire people because we kind of want to be like them,
Yeah.
and I'm not admitting that I don't do that and I'm not saying I'm not trying to criticize them for maybe that's the way they think, because
Mm.
usually we all think that way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more blaming like the company's side of it because it just seems like taking advantage of something that's popular. It's like we want to bank in on it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, that's why this other company wanted to do it, and that's why they turned a all white boy group into a K-pop group.
this is the thing, right? The next thing we're gonna show you, this has existed before,
This was the first
right?
one that made people
Yeah.
talk.
This is not the Kaachi is not the first time
Mm-hmm.
where you saw like white people or non like not even non-Asian like
Yeah.
non-Asian people
Yeah.
in a K-pop group.
Mm-hmm.
We'll put quotes on that because we haven't really defined it yet.
It's
But
hard
yeah,
to define.
it is. But let's get into this next one.
Okay.
I think this one's good. Yeah,
We have been talking about this for 45 minutes.
that's fine.
Should we talk about the other one
We'll,
after
we'll
this or
just
no need?
we could. I don't think we'll spend as much time on this second one.
Okay. We'll just
On the
do like a
second
little
one.
comparison and
It's more of a comparison, yeah.
okay. So, oh dear God. Okay, so this is "Feel Like This" by EXP Edition.
Ooh.
Why
What
does
is
it
that?
sound like a
I'm Mad
textbook?
Entertainment? Wait,
Huh.
say it again.
EXP Edition.
Oh my gosh, it does sound like a textbook.
Okay. Here we go. Is it playing?
Yeah.
2017. Okay, so this
Oh,
was.
so I felt like this was longer ago, but I guess I was. I also haven't seen this in years,
Yeah.
so it was like almost like a first time watch. I feel like I should put captions on, but I don't know.
Actually, yeah, let's do it. I'm doing it.
What do you think? Where do you think this guy's from? Do you know where this guy's from?
No.
He
Should I
looks
look
like
this
mixed
up?
though,
He does look mixed.
right?
This. Oh,
It's okay. Just keep playing.
okay. That is definitely a white
Like,
boy.
yeah, no, that's definitely a white guy, or non-Asian guy. You know?
Yeah.
There we go. So it looks like 3 out of the 4 members
Yeah.
are not Asian, or at least part Asian. Like it sounds like kind of like a resort song, you know? It's like Sandals Jamaica, right? Get your get your all-inclusive
Stop.
package for $1,200 or whatever. I don't know.
You know what I'm getting? It's not mixed properly.
I don't know. I don't have my good headphones on, so I can't really tell.
The instrumentals are so loud compared to
Yeah,
the vocals.
the vocals aren't like coming super
Yeah.
strong. I wonder if their pronunciation's any better because I can't really tell.
I already know. I think they're trying too hard to pronounce well. It just
Oh,
sounds too like enunciated.
it's almost too much.
Yeah.
Ah. Is that worse or is it,
I feel
is it
like
better
I
to
don't
not
know
understand
actually.
it? This is also funny too, because a lot of times you don't see facial hair on
That's
K-pop
so
men.
true.
So having like a guy with a beard is throwing me off.
Oh my god, that's so true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I will say, like, they're all pretty good singers.
No, the vocals sound a lot better on this song
Oh yeah.
than the Kaachi song. I'll say that. Maybe they're not mixed properly, but they sound better.
They do sound better. Okay, they only have 2 songs out. They released a song a year after this one. We won't listen to it now, but
Yeah, it's fine. This is the thing, right? I got nothing from that. You know what I mean? Just like I watched that and I'm like, nothing's changed. You know, I'm just like. You know.
I can't.
That's the thing, because usually when I find like a really good K-pop music video, I'm like, it makes like an impact on you. You're like, whoa, that was good. Like you saw 17 Sphere for the first time, and you're like,
And I cried. Yeah, you know.
What was that? I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But this, it's kind of like, I mean, the song's whatever, you know.
It's okay.
It just has that like really like pop club vibe to it.
That like tropical EDM going on there.
That's why I said the sandals thing.
Yeah,
it just
I know.
sounded like a resort commercial song.
Yeah.
That's what I got from it.
I want you to guess who my bias is.
The guy who looks Asian.
You're right, because he is mixed. Are we all surprised? No.
Yeah, because the thing that I didn't mention with the Kaachi song is that like the vocals didn't like. It feels like they didn't really like layer it or try to.
Yeah,
you know,
it
record
also
like some.
did not seem mixed properly.
Yeah, it just seems like they maybe recorded like 2 vocal tracks and they were like, that's cool, and like not really like a lot of effects.
Oh my god.
And because it doesn't have like that lasting impact or like that punch behind it. You know?
I feel like they were more dancers than singers, because their vocal abilities weren't really shown.
That's true. I mean, the chorus is kind of like half sung.
Yeah.
Right. So that makes sense, I guess. Yeah. But this one, I mean, just trying to compare it to, we're not gonna break this one down as much as like the Kaachi song.
Yeah.
But this is more just to show like this is something that's been tried before.
Yeah. Did it?
You know what I mean?
Was it successful? No. Absolutely
not at all.
It tanked.
And like, the dudes aren't bad looking. Like it doesn't come.
They're actually
it's
very
not about
decent
that.
looking. Yeah.
It's not about that. Okay. It's like the K-pop groups, they want Korean or Asian looking men singing songs in Korean.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Also, there wasn't a lot of going on like the video. Like one of the shots was like in like a forest with like dead trees, and the songs feel like this, and it seems like a fall day. It's like that doesn't give like this is like a summery song. You gotta go summery with it.
I would have pictured more so like a beach or something. Yeah.
Beach, abandoned railway tunnel, and an abandoned warehouse.
You know, maybe you feel something in an abandoned warehouse. You know.
I don't know about that. I feel like it could have been like a more of a summery vibe.
Yeah, me too. That's the feeling you get from that song.
Even then, but it's almost like the producers were like, oh yeah, Band Warehouse such a cool set for a video. But like you gotta think about what kind of vibe the song's giving you. You can't just go to a Band Warehouse and think it's gonna look good or match the music. Besides that, it's not that great. But the point of showing that was that this is definitely a thing, or it's happened before. Right.
And to go off of that,
yeah,
we have the next one. How are we segueing into this?
Okay. I mentioned before how sometimes like people just want to try so hard to become like they admire, right? So maybe a group forms like Kaachi, and the girls who wanted to join the group, right, are like, yeah, I love K-pop. Like this is something that I would definitely want to do.
Right.
Right. Like, and so there's that, and then there's being obsessed.
Yeah.
Like with trying to be, not even trying to be like someone, it's trying to be them.
Yeah,
exactly.
To actually be this person.
Like imagine yourself, right? Imagine me, typical white boy. Let's just say I'm full white for now. Typical half white boy. Okay, like I just decide like, hey, I want to be a different race. You know. So I want to invest a bunch of money in surgery to make myself look like a different race.
Nothing like him.
So if you don't know what we're talking about, okay, there's this dude named Oli. Okay, he's definitely been talked about before because he's been on like reality shows.
My God.
Like reality shows, like they're more like documentary things. So he's this dude who spent like a bunch of money to get plastic surgery so he could look like Jimin from BTS.
Jimin.
Insert that crying Jimin clip right now. That's hilarious.
Oh my God.
And look, I'm gonna criticize him more for the choice of trying to be someone else. Dude, I think you should just be who you are. Right? That's like more my thing, It's you wanna be. That's the message. You gotta listen to that song.
I wanna be me.
So
great song.
Because I'm not gonna make fun of him for the way he looks or any of that, but it's more of the idea that he's tried so hard to become like this other person that he's kind of gone so far that he can't go back.
Nope.
Right?
There's no going back. You already started, dude.
Yeah. And then, so on top of that, the reason why we bring this guy up is because he also made a K-pop video.
Yeah, I didn't know this. You told me this recently.
I've seen clips of it. I have not seen it in full. I did watch like the first 10 seconds just to see what it was about. And I know for a fact there is Korean in the song, so he's singing in Korean.
Oh my God. Okay.
So this goes.
Oh my God. I'm looking at the thumbnambul. He looks nothing like Jimin.
BTS Army out there. Okay. Tell me this guy doesn't look like Jimin. Okay. He doesn't.
Oh my God. I saw a clip on Instagram like a few months ago, and it was this guy live streaming, and someone was like, "Do you know Junghoon from 17?" And he goes, "Yeah, I get that. I look like him all the time."
Oh my gosh.
I started crying.
No way. This guy looks like Junghoon. Yeah, okay.
Hell no.
Then I look like Burden. Yeah, right. Yeah, my face.
I can't.
Anyway, look, I'm not trying to make fun of the dude. It's just more about the fact that it's like this is what happens when you just try too hard. Okay. Kids, you shouldn't try too hard to be something that you can't be. Okay. You can't just be Korean. You can't just choose that. Maybe you can go and be a citizen. That's fine, and you're a Korean citizen.
Yes.
Totally fine. You can totally do that, but you cannot change your race.
Yeah.
Okay. That's something you can't change. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm half Filipino, half white. I can't change that.
You can't
no matter
be
what
Korean. I hate to break it to you, but you cannot be a Korean man.
You're not Korean. You're not Korean. I can't be Korean. Okay. I can't be in 17. Okay.
Aw.
We gotta accept that.
I mean, you could. You're.
It's too late. I'm 25. They wouldn't take me now.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're the same age as us, Coops. It's fine.
Yeah, but they've had like years and years of training,
and
all of this experience, and
you can be Woozy's right-hand man.
That would actually be amazing.
That would be sick.
If I could speak Korean and Woozy wanted me to be his right-hand man in the production studio, I'm moving to Korea tomorrow. Done. Anyway, so we're bringing this guy up because about the things we're talking about, non-Asian,
Mhm.
right, non-Korean, singing a Korean or trying to make like a K-pop song.
Mhm.
Does that cross the line of cultural appropriation? Well,
Perhaps.
let's just play it. Let's see what
Oh,
happens.
we both haven't seen this. I'm so
No,
scared.
I've only seen clips. I haven't seen it in full yet.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Sponsored by Monster.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh, is here auto-tune?
I already can hear that his pronunciation isn't good.
He had no other syllables. He had to just wait out that line. So you got English now?
What is?
Jeez, dude, that's a lot of auto-tune, man.
Right? You are plastic.
Totally not conceited at all.
Nope.
You know?
Not at all.
Totally not. Totally not obsessed with yourself, dude. This is the thing. So many K-pop songs are against this ideology. You know what I mean? All these K-pop songs are more like, yeah, they have to present themselves as like really good-looking people, right? But it's, I hate that. Stop. I hate that. Stop.
Oh my god.
Why does other people agree to be in this?
I know. I would not want to be in this.
It could be perfect.
My god.
We got some branding. We got some branding in here, though.
I know.
I'll give them
Ciroc
that.
sponsor.
Oh gosh. I mean, he does kind of look like a Ken doll. I'll give him that.
True.
Like he looks like a bad guy in like a sci-fi movie or something. You know?
I get it. I see it. Whoa. Oh dear lord.
Oh.
Oh no.
You know, dude, that sound. He's trying to be like Empire of the Sun. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
Can't, dude. Empire of the Sun's too good. Like that really like super echoey, reverby voice. That's like super high range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The thing is, that's kind of sad. That might be like the best instrumental out of the 3 songs we heard.
Really?
I kind of enjoyed that one the most.
Really?
The not only instrumental, I thought the vocals and the whole vibe was kind of weird. I didn't like the whole chorus, like perfection, like I'm perfection, all this stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, because usually when you have songs that are like about being perfect, it's usually because it's like an acknowledgement that you aren't, or it's like trying to encourage someone that's like you're fine the way you are.
Yeah.
But this dude's whole thing is that he doesn't think he's fine the way he is because he's trying too hard to be like Jimin, you know?
Yeah.
So.
I'm perfection. I'm plastic.
Mm-hmm. It's like so self-aware, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, it's not like this guy gets like any positive praise anyway. Like, if you look at the like to dislike ratio on this
You're
video,
right.
it's not very good. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, go bash this guy or anything.
Oh my god, I did not even see that. Holy.
It's bad. Yeah. Because because more than Kaachi and more than that other group, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to like I want to be like that, right? So it's not even with the music. It's like I want to change myself so that I'm like this person.
Yeah.
You know, is this cultural appropriation? Getting plastic surgery to make yourself look like a Korean person? I don't know. Maybe. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is definitely more of an extreme example, but like,
Extreme, yes.
yeah.
Kind of scary.
What do you have to say about this guy? Kind of scary.
Kinda
How so?
scary. No, I mean like the whole how his brain works. It's just very sad to see.
Yeah.
He
Because you
has
look at
he
like,
probably has
yeah,
some
I know.
kind of uh what's it called, like a mentality disorder.
Hmm. I mean, it could come down to that, right?
Yeah.
Because like if you compare him to like, I don't know, like that message when it comes to like actual K-pop songs that exist, I don't think anyone comes off like that conceited.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like, that's definitely like
I guess
on the
not.
brink. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like they tend to be more positive than that, I would say.
True. I mean, this gave off a YouTuber vibe. It's like a Jake Paul-esque thing.
Yes, I get that. It
Like I
definitely has a
have
YouTuber vibe
money,
to it.
I am so big and popular, I'm better than you. Look at me and my money.
Yeah. I mean, it was filmed all right.
Yeah,
Thought that was okay.
I guess,
Thought that
yeah.
was fine. All right. It's
You're
definitely like a
right.
club song. The club aesthetic kind of fits it, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
overall, it's not very good.
Very not great. I did
Although
not enjoy that.
there's also so much auto-tune on his voice. It's actually insane.
Holy, that hurt my ears.
Jeez. That's when you put the correction rate. If anyone's ever used auto-tune before, you turn the correction rate up to like 0 milliseconds, and it just corrects every single thing you put in. That's why your voice sounds super robotic.
That was my impression of autotune. Thank
I
you
should
for
put
listening.
auto-tune on that. That'd be funny.
So with autotune, do you have to set a key to it?
You can. So
You can.
you
Okay.
can set a key, or you can set it chromatically, so it'll just like try to adjust itself to the
I
next nearest
see.
note.
Okay.
So I don't know what they were trying to do. It sounded like it could be a bit. I mean, they probably had it in the key because he's probably not like super accurate on his pitches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you
But I
like
mean,
people that use autotune?
I think autotune can be used for the purpose of trying to create a sound,
Like
right? Like if
artistically to
yeah,
use it?
yeah, if you want it to
Okay.
sound robotic, then yeah, you should put autotune on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
What about like a
But
T-Pain situation?
the thing is, the reason why T-Pain kind of mastered the autotune is that singing with full autotune and being that accurate, especially in his recordings, is that autotune is going to correct you to the next nearest note, right? So
Yeah.
let's say if it's chromatic, let's say you're singing an F, right? But you're slightly sharp, it might correct it to the F sharp. So you have to be so precise that you're hitting an F exactly, but it's still going to give you the effect that sounds like kind of like robotic.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And T-Pain's already proven that he's a good singer without it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So it's not like people always say like he relies on it, but it was more like that's just part of like his vocal aesthetic. He just wants it to sound like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Plus, I think like every vocalist or every producer out there uses autotune.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. That's the thing, right? You got to think about when people are producing vocals, like it needs to sound perfect.
Yeah.
Right? If you're coming out of the pop song, like
especially in the recording,
yeah,
you have
when it
to
comes
do
to
that.
pop music,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it has to have that pop sound. It has to be like no flaws, right? And so producers spend hours trying to like correct all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
There are softwares besides Autotune where you can go in and correct the pitches like manually and stuff like that, so it sounds like as precise as it possibly can be. And that's a lot of the times when you see pop singers perform live. It's not that they're bad singers. It's not like, but it's not gonna be as perfect as the recording, obviously.
And that's
It's a
why
live
when you
take.
see someone that does really well on stage, you're like, wow, they're amazing. They're a great vocalist because they sound just like the recording.
Yeah, because sometimes you'll hear it in terms of like K-pop live performances where they are live singing, but they're singing on top of a track. So they're
That's
singing on top of
right.
their vocal
Yeah.
track, and they might be slightly flat or slightly sharp, and you can hear like a slight difference
Different.
between it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very apparent too.
Mhm.
I would just say, look, if you're gonna have them live sing, have them live sing. Don't put a track behind them because it's gonna create like this weird feeling of like it being there's like one the track is either gonna be here and their vocals are gonna be either below it or just slightly above it. I feel like if you just take out the vocal track, and if they want to sing live, let them do it. Because I have no problem with lip syncing, especially for songs. If you have
That
to move around a
require
lot,
lots of dancing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
of course you're gonna lip sync.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean that's a whole other debate, like live performances versus that or whatever. But you know, but either way, that was kind of our topic. You know.
Whoa.
So if you're listening to this, I mean, here comes the question, like if groups, maybe not Kaachi specifically, but other groups who are not Korean or Asian for that matter, and want to create K-pop groups and sing K-pop songs, make K-pop music videos, all this stuff. Is that okay? Should that be allowed?
Let us know.
Would a Korean company ever recruit a non-Asian person?
Ooh, if they were, it would have to be white. A white person.
Interesting. See, there are even racial boundaries in terms of that, but it's like
100%.
Because they'll be fine taking like another Asian country, like a Japanese person or whatever, or a Chinese person, doesn't matter, right? But it's like maybe it begs the question, why hasn't there been, I don't know, a white person in the K-pop group?
Right.
Maybe there isn't. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I have
like
not ever seen that before.
White person.
Full on white guy, yeah, not mixed.
I don't know. I don't know if there is.
But if
Probably
that's
not.
if you think it's not okay, why? Right? I don't have the answer. I don't know. To me, I would think it's weird. It just doesn't fit the kind of look, you know?
Well, like, okay, so in the Philippines, there are a lot of Asians, or like, actually no, there are Asians who have made it in the Philippines. They're like huge celebrities now. Is that the same thing?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
It's really hard to say. Because then you could just compare it to that. It's you can compare it to so many things like that. Right? I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard to say.
It is really hard to say.
But it's definitely an interesting topic.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe we'll follow up, see, because they're relatively new, I guess. So we'll see, like,
we'll see if they release some new things in the upcoming months.
Yeah. We'll keep an eye out on that. But
yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No. The Oli Ayo. Ugh.
Oh, never again.
I need to wash my mouth now.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. This has been the Half Full Podcast. Yeah, we'll see you next time.